behavioral finance is becoming, and arguably should have become a long time ago, but is becoming a really important part of how many people approach financial decision making. So any forum like this that starts to bring it to a wider audience and make people aware that focus on personality, focus on psychology, focus on emotion is at least as important in getting good investment returns as all of the technical mumbo-jumbo about risk-return trade-offs is to be welcomed.
I think it is human nature that you go through periods of everybody behaving terribly well and then it gets out of control again. And one thing that makes me really cross is when the city, in inverted commas, or financial services or banks are blamed for everything. The truth of the matter is that everybody has to take responsibility because it was individuals who were borrowing far too much money. You know, they went and took out these loans with Northern Rock. They had 10 credit cards and didn't pay the money back. You know, and they over-leveraged themselves and no one made them do it. And there were lots of people filling in forms and not quite telling the whole truth about their finances and borrowing more money than they should have done. And it slightly irritates me when the blame is then placed on the professionals. Now, there's no doubt about it that the banks behaved really badly and actually in many ways are behaving even worse now and are actually preventing the economy from reigniting again in this country, in my view. But everybody has to take responsibility for what happened and learn the lessons of that.
I thought there were some very interesting things about how people make decisions. Some of them were quite frightening, that people dealing with billions of pounds actually make decisions on fairly irrational basis, and of course we've seen that to a certain extent in the financial crisis. Would anybody have rationally made the decisions that led to the banking collapse? Probably not. So I think it was interesting from that point of view, and if it will encourage decision makers to behave more rationally, then I think that would obviously be a good thing.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting to see different parts of the industry and how there was a recurring theme that emotions affect all the investment decisions, whether it be short-term or long-term. So I think it was a really useful event.
When we have bubbles, what it means is too many people are optimistic and going long. And when things are looking slightly difficult, what people should be doing, of course, is going short. And yet governments and regulators don't like that. They want to keep the boom going. I think we have to acknowledge that it's not just investors, it's governments and regulators and the average person in the street who likes to see booms. So I happen to think that the most important people to save us from future collapses are those who are willing to go short. It's a huge risk, of course, but if we can get the message out to people that there are things that can be done, then very good.
Even though financial investors could be very sophisticated, very technical on their strategies, how much they could be influenced by their emotions. And even when you are trying to have a very rational decision process of investment, your emotions play such an important role, and you have to learn to control them. I was also surprised to hear about the influence of the media, because we are overloaded of information, and I think the overload of information makes the decision process harder and makes harder to control our emotions, because we react to all the press and all this news that definitely influence. So you have to be more controlled as an investor to make convenient decisions for your portfolio or in the management of your portfolio.